Hey there, lovely people. I hope you are in great spirits, and if not, guess what? I'm about to get you there. Welcome back to the Love Naturally experience. I am your dedicated host and creator of Love Naturally, Priestess Ishtar here. And in today's episode, do I have a juicy one for you, baby. So this is one of those episodes where you can kind of kick back, relax, and sip a cognac if you have it. Or if you're driving along, this is perfect for you to listen to. I will be your companion on the next or over the next 25 minutes. So I have been getting so much downloads from the spiritual realm. But no, in seriousness. Throughout my meditations, right now we're recording this in September of 2022. So we've just entered into Virgo season. One of my favorite seasons. I'm a Virgo rising sign for those of you that speak astrology. And being a Virgo rising, it really allows me to tap into the beautiful benefit of Virgo energy, which all of us have some Virgo placement. And if not, you can still get involved in the influence in what this season brings. But this is a timeless message, so don't scurry away too fast, okay? So what we're going to cover today, and for the entire month of September, I've got a beautiful outline of lesson plans that I will be sharing with you that includes interactive activities and ways for us to work together, ways in which you can invest in your spiritual and emotional development, and also freebies or complimentary services of mine. But we'll get into that later. Theme of the month is, are you ready? Self-care. Yeah, self-care. The art of self-care, establishing self-care, defining self-care in your life, demystifying self-care. We are going to be covering the topic of self-care for the entire month of September. So this is a timeless message as well, or a timeless lesson. So those of you who are listening to this outside of this September timeframe of 2022, I want you to find my other lessons on self-care, because this is going to be a prerequisite to those other formats of content that I will be providing, all of which will work in conjunction. The goal at the end of the month for you and I together is to have a self-care plan in place, formulated, customized, that works for you, that will bring effective results in your life for whatever you want to see. Some call this magic, some call it manifestation. We're going to call it self-care. Okay, my beautiful people. So we are going to start with demystifying the hype around what self-care is, because self-care is a lot of things and it's also not a lot of things. And I think that often we have this stereotype or this veil around what self-care means, and it's usually involving a glass of wine, or the evening to yourself and having a bubble bath and aromatherapy, or getting a massage, or getting your nails done, or getting your hair cut, or getting your car washed. That by all means can encompass forms of self-care. They are, to a lot of people, ways in which they care about themselves, because let's think about it. What does self-care actually mean? And that's the first question that you need to define for yourself before I give you the answer. What does self-care mean to you? If I'm asking you right now, forget someone, I'm asking you, how would you define self-care in your life? How does it appear? How does it show up? How do you treat yourself? How do you give care to yourself? So when we start to think about it and look at it in those terms in which we have to define it, and I actually want you to define this. So if it means you pausing, defining and resuming, or just thinking about it right now, we can start to think about, oh, wow, well, no, having a glass of wine and the night to myself isn't self-care. That's a temporary marker in the entire journey towards caring for myself. When you care about something, you don't care about it for an hour. You don't care about it for a day. And, depending on what the thing is, let's keep it real. But it's yourself. It's a relationship. It's in a mystical way, it's a higher version of who you are. And any relationship that has value to you, you have care about it for more than just a day. You have care about it for more than just a month. You have care about it for more than just a year. So that relationship with caring for yourself expands far past penciling out an evening to make sure that your calendar is clear so you can binge watch your favorite show while getting your feet or your back massaged by your electronic device that you ordered from Amazon. It is about your ongoing relationship, and it is about what you want to bring or how you want to love on yourself and how you want to exemplify wellness, overall wellness for your spiritual, mental, physical, and along with a few other bodies that we're going to discuss a little bit more in the next section. So I do hope that you take the time to define, if this means you writing it out. Those of you who are truly dedicated to the path of self-mastery will do that. You will write out a definition, and it can be done as simply as making notes in your phone or device or a dedicated journal that you have and figuring out what self-care is. Because what we're moving into next is understanding how your body, your higher self, because really this is what this platform is. I'm helping you to connect everything to your etheric self. Yeah, we are talking about self-care in the physical form, but what is the communication? What is the spiritual language between ourselves on the physical realm and the spiritual realm when it comes to self-care? And this is where we look at how energy works in our bodies. And those of you who are familiar with chakras, okay, those of you who are not, look it up. Chakras are very popular. I don't want to divert or go off course too much on the topic, but chakras, CHAKRAS. Those of you who are familiar with chakras or who are not, do a quick research. But chakras are energy portals that are aligned within our bodies. We have hundreds of them, but 7 primary ones. And those energy portals within our bodies let us know what's off balance. And a lot of times it appears in your life in the form of a physical ailment. So it could be a headache. It could be stomach upset. It could be anxiety. It could be heart palpitations. It could be a multitude of things. When your higher self feels that, or when your energy body, I'll say, feels that something is off course, some form of care is lacking. For example, you're not drinking enough water. Your body needs water in order for you to have a fluid moving system, to flush out toxins, to keep your blood clean. Water does a multitude of things physically, but water is also a conduit of telepathic communication. So the body has different ways of telling us when something isn't right. I'm not feeling too good, and I need you to give me a little bit more attention here. A lot like a car who will signal a light that says my tire pressure is off. So once you begin to understand how your energy works in your body, you can start with studying the chakras. There's a lot of free content out there. However, once you understand how energy, or how your energy, because everybody's energy has a unique pattern, even though we do have shared traits and characteristics, you will understand what your body is telling you. And you have 6 primary bodies that we're going to discuss here. And these 6 primary bodies are different categories in which you can start to address what self-care is going to look like for you. Now, for some of you, you may have one category that's like, yeah, that one's on point. I think I'm kind of good in that department. But for other categories, you might say, man, I've been meaning to do a detox in this area of my life for quite some time. So consider the 6 bodies as the following. The first body is the emotional body. Makes sense? The emotional body represents your emotions. This is your energy in motion. So your emotions are how you feel, and how you feel are telling you what is going on the inside. So a lot of us have a lot of emotional trauma that we have not addressed, much of which that we've collected from our childhood that we've allowed to get buried, hidden, or just turned a blind eye to. Maybe because it was just too much, or maybe because we didn't know it was there. But emotional trauma is one of those forms of trauma or emotional baggage, and poor emotional self-care is one of those forms of, let's say, very, very damaging energy traps that can occur within your body. So a lot of us, when we have emotional trauma, it can lead to issues with the heart chakra, which will affect issues with the heart. So dying of a broken heart, or a heart attack, stroke, things relating to the heart. So having your emotions in balance. Emotions also is ruled by your solar plexus, and that's your fire chakra. So if you are understanding how your temper works or how your temperament is, if you're too passive or maybe extremely passive aggressive about everything, or maybe you are overtly angry on over the smallest stuff. Those are some areas in which you may want to consider looking at your emotional body to getting it better managed and more under control, aka giving it a little bit of a self-care plan. Your physical body is the next primary body. So the first one is emotional, the second is physical. By the way, in no particular hierarchy, no particular order, this is just how I'm listing them out. Physical self-care is very simple, very straightforward, and it's usually the easiest one to deal with. How is your diet? How is your relationship with food? How much are you drinking water? How much soda or sweets or artificial drinks do you drink? How many energy drinks do you like to throw back? Are you overindulgent in certain type of drugs or narcotics? Do you drink too much alcohol and liquor? Do you get yourself enough sleep? Do you not get yourself enough sleep? Do you oversleep? Do you have really bad eating habits? Do you not like to work out? Do you like to work out? So all of those things that relate to the physical body. Do you have a pain that you've been ignoring for a while? Do you need to get your teeth cleaned? It can be from head to toe. Do you have a corn on your toe that you need to get fixed? Anything that's physical, that's showing up in your body, this is a part of your self-care. Doing whatever it is that you do. If you have your own at-home sacred rituals where you detox and you use yoni eggs, I don't care. It is about your physical self-care plan. Let's transition to our third body. The third body is all about the mental. Now, mental health, I am a strong advocate for mental health. Mental health, I consider it to be a silent assassin in a lot of families. A lot of people, it goes unaddressed. And when it does, it can exacerbate. It can be as detrimental to your health as someone with a terminal physical illness. So paying attention to unhealthy thoughts, paying attention to what motivates you, if you even have motivation, or if you even feel encouraged or inspired, if you feel that you even may think that you're depressed, or if you're having suicidal thoughts, if you're always discouraging yourself, or if you have low self-value, low self-esteem. These are mental thought patterns that you've picked up along the way from somewhere, from somebody. And just as easy as you picked it up, you're going to drop that shit off. So addressing your mental health is one of the scariest departments because no one wants to be labeled. It's about when you feel unhealthy in the mental sphere, speaking up and knowing how to reach out for help, or finding those resources and helping loved ones when they also are not able to help themselves. Moving into our fourth, and to me, one of the most important, I can't say that, I really can't say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. One of the most important bodies is the spiritual body. Because I feel like when I have my relationship strong with spirit, everything else falls into place. So yeah, I will put it at that position firmly. So I lied. There is a hierarchy. So your spiritual body, this is however your relationship looks with God. If you're on a path of self-deification, like myself, if you are on a path of Christian worship, if you are on a path of Buddhism, if you are on a path of Jainism, so be it. But whatever is your dedication to your understanding of what is outside of you, whatever it is, do the research. I don't believe there's anything outside of me, so try to connect to something that is outside of you. Or if you don't think that there's anything outside of you, atheism, then try to connect to something. Connect to some form of belief that allows your spirit to soar, that gives you that fluttery feeling in your heart. And maybe for some of you, that's just a really loving relationship. God can be anything to a lot of people, and that's the beauty and the diversity of God. But God is really just one thing. And whether it's God, universe, spirit, source, pick a name, any name, don't really matter. It's love. It's the one true formula of the Most High Supreme is love. And that's the frequency that you want to find when you are working with your spiritual body. And however you find that in your path, remember that love is the ruling element, not judgment for what other people are doing, other people ain't doing. Because once we get into that, we've lost course. Okay? We've gone off course. There's enough room for everybody to love on their God how they want to love on their God, because at the end of the day, we're all just swinging from our wonderful little canopy trees, or I see like a canopy swing. Our wonderful canopy swings from each individual branch of the same tree of life. Let's dive into the financial body, which is going to be our fifth body. And the relationship that we have with the material world is unavoidable because we are in physical material form, right? So as our ether has manifested us into this physical form, we have to deal with the things that come with structure in society, such as economy, money, finances. So what is your relationship with money? How does it look? Do you like your relationship with money? Do you not like it? Do you avoid it? Do you hide from it? If money was your woman, if money was your man, is it someone that you're cheating on? Is it someone that you're dedicated to, that you're loyal to? Is it someone that makes you happy? And by someone, I'm talking about money. When you look at money as a personified entity, give it a name. Let's call it Sheila. Why not? Or let's call it Mike. Okay? We'll pick a name, any name. When you look at it as a personified entity, you can start to really critique how you care about it. How do you treat it? How do you respond to it? How do you manage it? How do you preserve it? How do you spend it or spend your time with it? So your relationship with money is its own entity because it's so needed for, and some people may disagree, and that's beautiful. But money does bring happiness. It does. Not to say that money brings all happiness. It doesn't. Health and healthy loved ones and happiness and loyalty with those loved ones is also beautiful. But money can make things a lot more comfortable. Wouldn't you agree? Or it can make things uncomfortable. You get too much of it, right? More money, more problems. However, having a healthy relationship with money, and what does every relationship have? A healthy set of boundaries. So even within your relationship care with money, you're going to establish boundaries. And in the future episodes or the future content that I'll have on this topic, I will help you to establish those boundaries with each and every one of these types of bodies as it fits in your life. Which brings us to our last body, the social body. Yeah, the social body is one of those bodies that I feel gets overlooked a lot. We don't tend to look at our social circles until something happens. We had a falling out, or they owe me money, they ain't never paid me back, or, something happens. But your social structure is so important, from the romantic to the sexual to the platonic. Everything should always be evaluated to see how it is contributing to your life. And every form of those relationships, you should see how you are contributing to, because it's always about give and take. Do you take any of your relationships for granted? Or are you being taken for granted in any of your relationships? So looking at your social life, your work social life, as well as your colleagues, your family, your romantic life, your sexual partners. If things don't serve you, caring about yourself, because you don't realize that every connection has a cord of energy that is tethered to it. That's why someone reaches out to you like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you, bro. I was just about to text you, girl. And that's because that energetic cord, that does not matter how far apart you are on the globe or on this earth, you're always tied to that person. That's why if you ever hear about cord cutting or cord removal, it's a way for you to kind of detach your energy from someone when you're ready to put some space and distance in between you and another. If you're interested in cord cutting or knowing how to do that successfully, reach out to me. I have a really, really good ritual or spell that you can use to help you with doing easy cord cutting, because cord cutting can be a very, very difficult transition when you want to let someone go. But as stated, your social body is something that you will want to evaluate. Don't just go and start cutting cords with people. Look and see why and see what this person has taught you. Always find gratitude in the relationships, because your relationships are a direct mirror reflection of what's going on immediately in your life, from your children to your partner, all the way up to your colleagues at work. Okay? All right, so I know that was a lot, all 6 bodies, but we will go through these together in a nice slow pacing and detailing over the course. But what I wanted to go forward to look at is guiding you on a journey towards your past. I want you to look at your evolution versus your environment. Now, some of the things that we've learned or picked up along the way comes a lot of from what we've been taught, what we've seen from our parents to older siblings to whoever raised you growing up, whatever your growing up setting was, no matter how lovely or how harsh it may have been. Those are the things that imprinted upon your mind at a very, very influential time when your brain was probably a sponge. And this is during adolescence and even before adolescence as well. I won't just cap it in that range. And when we look at what our guardians did, whether that be your parents or whomever, and what we observed as their forms of self-care, we need to consider all 6 bodies. How did your guardians, or what were you taught about managing money? What were you taught about managing yourself physically? Ladies in particular, were you taught how to clean yourself properly? How to manage your menses properly? Gentlemen, were you taught how to clean yourself properly? Especially those of you who may be uncircumcised. What were the things that you were taught, if you were taught at all, about your emotions? Did anyone ask you how you felt in your day? Did anyone ask you how your day was and actually genuinely listen? Did you have any mental health problems in your family, immediate or extended? Were there any members of your family with mental health conditions or mental health issues? All of these bodies, and considering all of them, this is a reflection of what you were taught, and you should evaluate in your life as it is right now, record and reflect. So you're going to start to get into an activity. So yeah, you don't need to write this down right away if you are unable to do so, of course, but at a later date and time when you can, I want you to consider a few things. I want you to consider what poor self-care habits do you reflect and repeat to this day, if any? Are there any poor self-care habits that you actually repeat this day that you notice from your childhood? Okay, so that's your first question. Your next question I want you to consider is, have you developed any fears paranoia, compulsive negative thoughts that impede any of your self-care bodies. So again, have you developed any fears or paranoia or compulsive thoughts that are negative that is affecting negatively your self-care routines or your ability to provide self-care to yourself within any of the 6 bodies that I've mentioned? Okay? I want you to address those fears or those negative thought patterns, such as, I can't save money because I know I'm going to need this money for something and something bad is going to happen. Or I'm afraid I'm going to get sick because my grandma was sick. And if my grandma is sick, then I'm going to probably get sick in the same way. All of those things, and we can go through each category, but for time's sake, I want you to consider, do you have any negative thought patterns that are kind of like paranoia, that you are or that you are turning into a fear that has the possibility of being manifested in your life? So that's the breakdown of the second question. Once you record and reflect and spend time, and that's going to take a little bit of time to do. And if that takes a few days to work through it, maybe do 1 body a day. Don't overwhelm yourself. This is shadow work, okay? So this is a pretty thorough process. Once you've identified, if any, because I'm sure you may have some, hopefully not though, hopefully not. But if you do, I want you to set and speak intentions. So set an intention that is going to diffuse and strip away some of the layers of fear and negative thoughts and paranoia and self-deprecation that's not serving. I want you to set an intention that's going to give you action or give your positive manifestation life. And this is something that you will say daily. You can say it in your mind, or you can state it aloud. You can choose to write it down, or you can choose to repeat it to yourself while you're driving. This is something that you can even wake up to and read every morning, but it is a constant reminder to help you address self-care. Because remember, self-care is not just a one-day thing. It is an ongoing relationship. So now it's time that I ask you again, what does self-care mean to you? You should have a little bit of juice, a little bit more to work with now that we've broken down self-care as much as we have. But we're not going to close here. I want you to reestablish a healthy relationship with your self-care routines. And this will change. Your self-care is not going to look like one thing forever, unless you're someone who likes something to just stick because it gives you grounding and it makes you feel good. But your self-care plan will alternate because your spirit is diverse. It likes newness. It likes variety. It likes versatility. So getting clear on where you stand is the first thing that you need to do. You will do that by going through the questions that I've stated in the earlier portions of this audio. And you can also do this by continuing your learning about your chakras, learning about how energy moves throughout your body, and also just by getting down into action and doing things, looking at your account, stretching and seeing where you feel pain and tension within your body, eating a healthier diet if you can, or just sitting and meditating to address mental and emotional angst. Meditation is like a one for all. You do it once and you get everything in alignment, because that's when you are allowing yourself to align with your source. Setting clear goals is the next step, because once you know where you stand, you can now say, all right, that's where I want to get to. I'm not there yet, but there at least is a visual marker, whether it's a mentally visual, you can see it on your astral plane, or it's something that is an actual physically attainable thing that you can see yourself doing. I want to physically travel to this place because it's going to bring me this form of joy. You want to set a goal that is clear. And once you set that goal that is clear, create an effective plan to achieve that form of self-care. This plan should be personalized. This plan should feel creative. It should be customized and tailored just for you. Now, you can borrow and share self-care plans from other people, but just like with magic, look up or with a recipe. Those of you who don't do magic and recipes are the same thing. It's about following a set of steps, and sometimes you can deviate and you can add a little bit more salt, add a little bit more spice, add a little less if you like, or add another flavor. And that is really what you're doing here. You're going to create an effective self-care routine that is going to be personalized, fun, joyful, and will pull you in to want to follow and see my next video. So when you're ready to master your self-care plans and your self-care routines, check out my other contents, because I will be helping you with that and breaking down the keys and successful tips to help you have the best self-care plan. Commit to the boundaries that you set. Don't play no games. This is you. This is what you want. This is your self-care. It's an ongoing relationship. The same way you don't let nobody play with your husband. You don't let nobody play with your kids. You don't let nobody play with your wife. No. We don't play them games. Nah, fella. All of that applies. It's the same attitude with you. You have to have the same type of fire, the same type of energy when it's about yourself. So set boundaries. If it means that your self-care looks like this, then period. It looks like this, and there are no exceptions, unless the exceptions that you've set within the conditions of that boundary. Make sure that you are tracking your growth, tracking your progress. Have check-ins, whether it's in the format of a group, the format of a one-on-one with a therapist, the one-on-one with a confidant, the one-on-one with just yourself, sitting with spirit at a park, in your car, in the bathroom. It doesn't matter, okay? Have a check-in and track your progress. Figure out a way for you, if you are someone who likes to get on the computer to do Excel files, or if you like to do things creatively, if you're really good with arts and crafts, if you're just someone who's basic and you just want to put down tick marks, just do something that tracks your progress on every time that you've achieved a goal. A good way to do this is using a calendar, and your little tick marks can be just a special message for you every time that you've achieved your goal, because this is going to help you to celebrate yourself. The last tip I have for you is scheduling self-acknowledgement days. This is not your self-care routine or your self-care plan, by the way. This is literally like a personal holiday for you. This is when you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have a parade, and I'm going to hire a clown, and I'm going to have somebody jump out of a cake, and I'm going to get a caterer, if you want to go that grand. And your self-acknowledgement day, or a lot of companies call this, customer service or employee appreciation week, employee appreciation day. Well, this is going to be a self-acknowledgement day. This is how you are going to acknowledge every milestone, everything you've done to care about yourself, and all of the goals in between, because celebrating is so important. You every day have angels and source and all of these beautiful spirit guardians and spirit guides that are cheering you along, and they want to see your success, and they want you to feel successful because they can already see the success that is waiting for you down the line. So getting in touch with yourself and caring about yourself is going to be a long journey, but it is one that you can do. And with my help, you will not fail. So we are wrapping up here. If you like this content, don't forget to like, to share it with somebody that you feel will benefit from it, and to subscribe for more content like this, and to send me your suggestions. Also, I am officially taking your questions for free. So if you have any spiritual development questions, you can head over to my website, and emotional evolutionary questions. Head over to my website at www.LoveNaturalee.com. And naturally is spelled naturally.com/services. There you will find my paid services, but also under the Contact Me page, you will find the opportunity to send me your inquiries or your questions, and to even book a free 15-minute consultation call with